machines will do? Machines always
Work.
will move. They will do work actually. But what they will do generally, either they may oscillate or they may rotate or they move from one point to another point. Like that. Every machine will move in any one of the form. It may be translatory motion, it may be rotatory motion, it may be oscillatory motion, or it may be in any other form. So definitely all machines generally will move. And when machines are moving, what mechanics will tell us generally? Mechanics generally will tell us about movement of object. What they will tell us? Movement of object. How an object will move. If an object is moving, what rules will be applicable? And if object is moving, with what it moves. That means what is necessary to move that object from one point to another point, and with that how motion of an object will change. All those things will be explained in one branch of physics, which is called mechanics. And one of the important branch of a mechanics, or one of the chapter we are going to learn. And generally mechanics, what it will tell us? Movement of objects, how they are moving. So generally mechanics will be classified into two types. Those are called kinetics and statics. Now let me write this side. Mechanics generally classified into how many categories? Two categories will be there.
Kinetic and static.
Right. First one is called kinetics and second one is called statics. So two types of things will be there in mechanics. One is kinetics and other is statics. What is this kinetics and what is this statics? That you will learn while we learn about this chapter of mechanics.
Can I tell?
Okay, tell me.
So kinetic means the energy possessed by body when it is moving. Then static means the energy possessed by a body when it is in rest.
Okay. So that means you are speaking about kinetic energy and potential energy. Right. So very good. Actually, kinetics means when an object is moving, what things are related with it. Those things will be learned in kinetics. And statics means what? If an object is in a state of rest, how it will be in a state of rest. If state of rest is there, what are the parameters which will say about that particular object? So like that. So that means kinetics generally will explain about movement. But whereas statics will explain about what? Rest. So movement and rest, both will be there. So about that only we are going to learn today in our chapter. So this is a brief description related to our chapter, and let us see what is our chapter today. What is our chapter? Motion and time. So that means you are going to learn about how an object will move, and if an object is moving, what type of things will be there related to that motion. And apart from that, you are going to learn about time also. What is the time, how it will be measured, and what are the units of them. And in olden days, how time was measured, and nowadays how we are measuring the time. So all those things we are going to learn. So first we are going to learn about measurement of a time today, and in tomorrow's session, that means day after tomorrow session, one more session is there, and in that session you are going to learn about motion. So motion and time is our chapter, and first let us learn brief description regarding to the motion. Okay, now as you know that motion means movement only, no? Motion means what, Unmana?
Movement.
Right, movement of objects. Tell me, what do you mean by movement? Priscilla.
What, sir?
Movement means what? Movement.
Like when an object travels a distance.
Traveling the distance. Okay. Unmana, you tell me. What do you mean by movement?
Something that is in action.
Something that is in action. Okay. Right. Movement means generally you say moving. Moving means what will happen? What will happen? Now tell me whether I am in a state of moving or not. Whether I am in a state of moving or not. Now, what you are observing?
Yes.
I am moving. Whether I am moving? Priscilla, you tell me whether I am moving.
No, sir.
How you can say I am not moving?
Sir, because you're staying still.
Okay, I am staying still. Still means what way? What is happening? What you are understanding about that still? Still means
Sir,
you are
you're
saying.
not,
Okay.
you're not like, um, so like you're not shaking or walking or doing anything.
Okay. Shaking or walking. Okay. If I walk, what will happen, Priscilla? If I walk, what will happen?
Sir, you use energy.
Okay, I use energy and I am moving. When I walk, what will happen? Whether
You travel a distance.
okay, I am traveling a distance. So you are not getting my point. I want to derive definition from you people. Okay, let me ask you
Sir,
like this.
so like movement means doing any work.
Doing any work, right? Doing what work? Doing what work?
Physical work.
Okay, physical work. Right. Again, tell me, walking means what will happen generally? Unmana, you tell me. In walking, what will happen? Unmana.
We are moving and we are in action.
Okay, walking means moving only. But what is happening? Whether position of that person or position of that object will change or not change.
Sir, it will change.
It will change.
Right? Position of an object will change. If position of an object is changing, then what do you say?
It is moving.
Right? It is moving. So movement means what? Position of an object must change. Now tell me whether my position is changing or not.
Yes.
No, sir.
Right, my position is not changing. That's why you are saying that I am in a still position. That means I am in a rest position. I am not moving. Isn't it? If I move, what will happen? My position will change continuously. Suppose if I am there here now, definitely my position will be there if I move. Isn't it? So my position will continuously change. So movement means what? Position of an object must change. If position of an object is not changing, then definitely object is in a state of rest only. So that we are going to learn. So let us start our discussion with motion. What do you mean by motion? A body is said to be in a motion if it changes its position with respect to the surrounding with the passage of time. That means actually motion means what? Position of an object must change with respect to whom? With respect to me,
An object.
with respect to the time also, isn't it? So with respect to the surroundings. Now I am sitting in a room and my position is not changing with respect to this room. That's why I am in a state of rest. Suppose if position is changing with respect to this room, then what do you say? Definitely we are in a motion. So if position of an object is changing with respect to the surrounding or with respect to the time, then what we say, the object is in a state of motion. So all moving things are said to be in motion. Moving things means you have to understand that position is changing. Now a car is changing position with respect to trees or houses or etc. in the motion. Now you know that all these examples whatever are given generally will tell us about motion only. Now observe carefully, see surfing is there. In that man will move or not in water?
Yes.
Right. High speed train. Position of train will change or not continuously with respect to time?
Yes, sir.
Right. In snowboarding also what will happen? Definitely position of this person will goes on changing. And when bicycle is moving like this, position of a bicycle will change with respect to the time. Isn't it? So
Yes.
now briefly tell me, what do you mean by motion?
The motion means when a body is moving with respect to an object and the time.
Again you are coming, you are saying that moving. How can you say it is moving?
So when an object changes its position with respect to any object and time.
Right. You have to say like this. If an object is changing its position with respect to some surrounding with the passage of time, then it will be said to be in a state of motion. Now I am sitting here. Now if I change my position like this, now what I am doing? Now I am changing my position or not?
Yes,
With
sir.
respect to the time. So with respect to the time, if I change my position like this continuously, then I am in a state of motion. So every moving body will continuously changes its position either with respect to the surrounding or time. Definitely. Okay. Now if the position of an object is not changing with respect to the time, then tell me what you say.
So then it is in rest.
Right, the object is said to be in a state of rest. If position is changing, object is said to be in a state of motion. If position is not changing, then we say that the object is in a motion. So these two things we have to understand. See here. This is about motion and next one is about time. But before that you have to understand that if position of an object is not changing with respect to the time or surroundings, then the object is said to be in a state of
Rest.
very good, rest. If position is changing, object is said to be in a state of
Motion.
Okay,
Motion.
right. Now tell me whether state of rest and motion are absolute or relative. What is it? Tell me.
Sir, can you repeat the question?
Whether state of rest and motion are absolute or relative. Absolute means what? Certainly. Relative means it may not be certainly.
Sir, it is relative.
Relative. Relative means what? It may not be certainly.
Sir, then it can depend on the object.
Right. It can depend upon object. Okay. And to understand this particular absolute and relative. So let me say like this. Let me ask you one question. Very small question I am going to ask. Now suppose I draw one line. Whether this line is shorter or bigger. Whatever the line.
We cannot tell. We cannot tell.
Right. We can't say. Suppose if I draw one more line like this, tell me now whether first line is shorter or second line is shorter?
Sir, first one is shorter.
First one is shorter with respect to
The second line.
second line. Now tell me whether second line is a bigger line or shorter line.
There is a bigger line.
Bigger.
With respect to?
The first.
Smaller line.
Okay. Suppose if this line is not there, only second line is there. Now can you say this is bigger or shorter?
No, sir, we can't.
You can't say, isn't it? So now
Yes.
whatever bigger or smaller, whether it is absolute or relative? Absolute or relative? Let me ask you one more question like this.
Sir,
Always,
this is it's relative.
right. Always sun rises in east. Is absolute or relative?
Relative.
Sun rises in east is relative. That means sometimes sun may rise in north also. Sometimes sun may rise in
No,
west.
sir, no, sir, this is absolute.
Right, it is absolute. Always this will happen. You can't change it. So which can't be changed? Definitely, certainly will be called what? Absolute. If it is certain one, then you have to say it as absolute. And if you can't say it as absolute, then you have to say it as what? Relative. Now, state of rest and motion are also relative. They are not absolute. How they are not absolute? So let me say with a small example. Now suppose for example you both friends are there, Unmana and Priscilla are there, and Priscilla or Unmana prayed God that if I pass in examination I will come to your temple, like that you prayed, and after passing the examination you want to go to some place, and suppose Unmana is going to that place and you both friends went to railway station, and Unmana is sitting in a railway train and you are there on the platform, and you both were observing one tree which is there at some place. Now let us say train is moving, and in the train Unmana is there and you are there on the platform. Both are observing the tree. Now tell me, when Unmana sees this particular tree, how it will look like?
Sir, that it is in motion.
Moving.
Right, so tree is in moving. Now according to Priscilla, who is there on the platform, now tell me what is the state of this tree?
Sir, it is in rest.
Right, it is in rest. According to her, she is in a, tree is in a motion. Which is right? Whether tree is in a state of rest or motion?
Rest.
Rest only. It is not moving. According to you, you only said it is in motion. So you can't say absolute. To say it correctly, you have to say that from where you are observing it. According to, so if I say like this, when I am moving in a tree, if I am moving in a train, the tree is in a state of motion. That is right. If I am there on the platform, the tree is in a state of rest. That is also right. So both are right only, no? That means
Yes, sir.
the tree can be in a state of rest, tree can be in a state of motion at the same time. So according to one person, it may be in a rest. According to one more person, it may be in a state of motion. So that's why you can't say perfectly whether the tree is moving or not. You can't say absolutely. It is a relative. So you have to remember this.